Alright, so over here I've got like my third run through of making the tool room. You have your red tool, the floor will be right here. And then pink tool is hidden down under the floor there with a fancy block swapper. I am using the create mod both to help with faster item transfer and then just easing the actual moving of blocks, so these are all glued together here. But other than that, I believe everything's in vanilla. The way it works is you have your input item here, and then it runs through a bunch of just standard item filters, which is then taken for an output over here through pistons, and then this effectively serves as a memory. When on question is input, it gets pushed over. This block then goes like that, and it gets dropped there because these are zero ticked. And this then does two things. On the bottom, it checks if pink tool is active, and it changes pink tool's memory state over here. That's what this little line is. Changes pink tool's memory state with an AND gate, but it needs pink tool to be active, so right now it does nothing. And then the second part is it's going to come over here, and then this is where I've not finished yet. It needs to check which tool is active. If red tool is not active, it needs to do a secondary check of pink tool's memory over here. Is it on the first or second state? And then based on that, it will finally take all of those combined statements and give an output. But the thing I'm really proud of is it's got memory reset to clear it without spamming anything. And then for red tool, when you ask who are you, represented by this line here, you can actually even come on down here. You can drop a who are you into this. And then it switches, and now pink tool comes back over. And then you'll get the memory cleared after a question is asked, which still needs to finally be hooked up. Pink tool can get any question asked, and then it should, after pink tool is asked two questions, whoops, is off. So the timing was off there. Now when pink tool is asked a question, it gets two questions, and then it will cycle back to red tool based on the memory thing there. So we should have question 1, then question 2, and now it switches. And then when we ask who are you again, you do that just with a simple button here. It switches, and pink tool should again have two questions. 1, 2. And then it switches. And then this is the catch-all for I don't know. If anything doesn't match it, it then gets pushed out that way before the whole thing again gets reset. The biggest hurdles right now are figuring out how to take a powered off or a no from an if statement. So over here, this is the breaking up of the question asked line. I was going to make AND gates for red tool being active. Red tool being active. Ooh, that's not going to work. Red tool being active, something like this, and then like dust running down the side. So it checks each and every one. Hey, is red tool on? Is red tool on? Is red tool on? But then it needs to say, okay, if red tool isn't on, but one of these first questions is still asked, pink tool still has to be able to respond. So we need to be able to actually still take an output from a failed AND gate check and then pull it down further into like, okay, is pink tool's memory circuit on over here? Because if it's on, it gets the second response. If it's off, it gets the first response. But that's that. This has been like my third or fourth attempt trying to run through it, and you can see some of the other components I've been testing. fancy logic gates. This is trying to split off the different sections, the different questions, and then this is how it fits. It would fit into the rest of the test build. This is an older version, still using water streams, which are confirmed slower than everything else. And then the actual thing is down under here. And then this is the current iteration of it. Where again, we're struggling to actually take out the outputs, so you have your AND gate here for red tool being active. But pink tool needs to be able to respond to every question, not just the ones that pink tool directly answers in the episode of why and who are you. And then a special case for in Petscraft 7 when they say, "I love you, new maker." But that's that. As far as the block switcher goes, it's a pretty straightforward thing. You just have this all glued together so it acts as one block, and then this is effectively one giant glorified piston. The timing is such that when this pulls down, the same, or in that moment, this then gets powered through down here, pushes it over, and then the comparator fader clock eventually runs out, and it defaults to going back up, so you can see that through right there. And the timing is probably about as tight as I'm going to be able to get it. Even using the creative motors, these are already at the max speed. Like, yes, I could take out this one air block, but I like that there for a little bit of extra leeway in case I need it. But that's kind of our update. I've probably spent over 30 hours, 40 hours designing and redesigning and re-redesigning because I keep finding bugs in this silly little room.